Hey there survivors, how's it going? Welcome back to Ark Survival Evolved. Today I'm going to share 10 hidden base locations on the centre, mainly aimed at solo players or small tribes. All these work on official as usual, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, this first spot's around 37.0, 34.6, and it's kind of down a little vertical rat hole towards the top of the floating island. I'll just kind of go out of it now to show you what it looks like when you come into here. But yeah, it's just really kind of either a start location or a little solo spot. I personally don't like building up in spots that face upwards just because upward facing spots are the hardest to defend really. But you could get a few things set up here. I'll just demolish some of the stuff to show you the space. So even though I could snap a bunch of foundations, like triangle foundations up there, there's still this little weird glitchy spot down here that you can fit a little bit down. So if you're going to experiment with building here, definitely bring some grappling hooks. But not a bad little spot to start off with, especially with the no restrictions. But you'll definitely want some turrets facing upwards if you can, if you plan on staying here like, you know, more than a few days or something. So that was the first spot. Let's head over to the next location. Right, this next spot's around 90.5, 36.3, and I'll just go out and show you how to find it easily first. So at the edge of the redwoods you've got the waterfall, so you follow this first riverway up, and then sort of turn right and you'll see this crack in the cliff. Then it kind of leads into a little cave, and then just head in the middle, and as you're about to exit just look up here. And then, yeah, you'll see these two little like sort of stalactites up here, but they're meshy from the top. But you can't go through them, they're completely solid. You can't build foundations on them though, the trick is to build them from the wall. I'll show you now. So just stand on top of it, and as you can see you can't build on it. So you put a triangle foundation just against this wall, and then you can snap the foundations onto the surface of the mesh then, which is kind of strange. So I imagine it might be a bit finicky trying to get that triangle foundation to try and place on some official servers or some official modes anyway. Just because of how weirdly some things snap on official compared to single player anyway, even with official settings. But it might be worth checking to see if you can build here on your server, because it's a nice and tucked away little spot that I imagine most people just fly past and don't ever even look at. Anyway, let's move on to the next base location. Right, this next spot's around 38.6, 2.6, and it's probably another little starter location slash solo spot, but it's just up on this little ledge kind of near the ice palace as you can see over there, and it's just as you come in underneath it, and it's on this lip. You got a good bit of room to get some stuff on the go up here. As long as you keep your base tucked away, people shouldn't really see it unless they fly right up close to this location. But if you get it defended with some turrets, then they've only got some limited places that they can put things to soak really. So if you do have turrets on the edge, make sure they can face down. I thought it was cave damage in this entire area as well, but it's not, so that's a little bonus as well I guess. Anyway, let's move on to the next base location. So this next spot's around 22.6, 9.7, and it's just up in this rock basically on the cliff on one of the edges of the world. And it's quite a big opening. I can imagine that people will scout this quite often just because, you know, it's quite inviting to come into. But to start off with, you're lovely and tucked away. You have to come right in there to even see any base. Up on the surface above, you're not far from penguins and metal and stuff as well, so it's not bad for building up. And there's no restrictions for building with triangle foundations especially. You can't fit a cliff platform up here on official unfortunately. But if you wanted to expand out, you could plaster, you know, plenty of foundations and pillar down and have more foundation coverage for turrets, etc. Obviously watch out for Quetzal raiding, but if you're playing on Ark Classic or something, this might be a pretty damn good spot. Anyway, let's head to the next location. Right, this next spot's around 26.4, 7.0, and it's on the same sort of edge of the world cliff as the other one that we were just at. But this one will be much easier to defend, just because the opening is much more restricted. But I'll just show you the surroundings anyway. And yeah, like the other place up here, there's quite a few metal spawns and you're not far from penguins for polymer, etc. But unless someone does bring a Quetzal or a skiff, it's going to be hard for them to actually try and find places to even try and soak the base here. And there's a surprising amount of building room in there as well, I'll show you. I had all this set out because I was thinking of putting a base here at some point anyway on the centre. So I just wanted to see what the restrictions were. And as you can see, this first layer is quite big. And then there's another layer which is about the same. And then you can basically put triangle foundations at any point you want another floor, really. So there is tons of room in here for almost anything you want to do. This is the space with all the stuff demolished anyway, just so you can see the opening. And yeah, see what I mean? It's quite surprising how much space you got in here when you start setting a few floors up. So anyway, let's move on to the next location. Alright, this next spot's around 42.0, 29.3. And it's just a little crack underneath the bottom of the floating island. So I'll just go out and show you what it looks like when you kind of come here. So you're looking for kind of these rock formations really. And then you just find this little triangle crack. And you've got a good bit of building room up here. The mesh is a little bit strange, as you can see the triangle foundations kind of come out quite a bit at those points. But I just placed that one quickly. Yeah, a little bit lower, and then you can fit a ceiling and then build down, or build triangle foundations down and then build up. Maybe try with pillars. You can fit a couple of floors though, so you can fit a fabby, smithy, some forges and some basic stuff here. You can squeeze a gen and some turrets in obviously, but you can't really do much else up here, so just another starter little spot really. Anyway, let's move on to the next location. Right, this next location's around 38.3, 32.6. And this is underneath the floating island as well, but this is a weird little spot. I just accidentally ran into this because it doesn't even look like there's an entrance to it. And you'll see why, but there's no restrictions for building. There's a good bit of room for all your crafting stuff and even some basic breeding. But I'll just show you this way out because this is weird. It kind of gets glitchy if you walk up there. And then you can crouch to get out there, but I actually flew in that way accidentally in the corner, so because you don't even need to crouch to go in that corner, I'm pretty sure you can fit a Pteranodon through there. Right, I'll just show you how to find it anyway, because I don't know if it's my eye and eye, but I just can't even see an entrance. So you're looking for this rock formation, or if you know where this drop entrance is from underneath the floating island, just basically go under like the flattest wall, and then you'll see the rock formations there. And then it's just up in this corner, you'll kind of see this glitchy looking rock. And that's the bit that you can just fly in. See, I don't even need to crouch to get through that bit. But then you need to crouch to get out of it. But there's another spot that you can get in anyway. So just to the left of that corner bit, you can actually kind of walk up here and probably park a Pteranodon or an Argent or something. And then you can literally just crouch through this bit. But then the rest of it to the left of you is just solid wall. But this is a cheeky little spot if you can get this spot on an official server, I think. Anyway, let's move over to the next location. Right, this next spot's around 29.3, 61.8. And this is in one of the bear caves. I thought I'd show a few of the bear caves as the last spots because they are pretty good for new players still. And if you can get them well defended, they can be pretty good spots in general. So this one's got a lot of vertical building room. You can't actually build up on this ledge, but if you build up from the ground below, you can probably pillar down onto this ledge and then, you know, kind of cheese build it that way, and can't fit a cliff plat. I'll just show you what the entrance looks like when you come here. So it's yeah, near that little pond. As you can see though, there's no restrictions for building on the ground part, and it's reasonably flat, so it's quite good for building on. Just make sure you get a turret wall up at the entrance. And you've got a lot of metal and cementing paste and crystal and stuff near these bear caves as well, so that's really good for starting up. The main disadvantage is the large opening to this cave, but the next one's a bit smaller and the last one's the best cave if you can possibly get it. So this next spot's around 29.7, 63.2. And again, like I said, this is another little bear cave. You haven't got the vertical height for building in this one, but there's a good bit of horizontal space, so you can get some basic breeding and stuff on the go. The entrance is also kind of down a ramp more, and because it's smaller, people won't be able to soak with paracers and big things like that as easily, so they'll be stuck with things like trikes and turtles. But again, you've got a lot of metal for starting up on a server fresh, and crystal, cementing paste, all that stuff close by. So not a bad location if you can get it defended pretty quickly. And oh yeah, I'll just fly out and show you what the surroundings look like when you actually come here. Because unless you look specifically down at it, it is quite tucked away. So yeah, not a bad little spot to get set up early game. Now let's move on to the last base location. Okay, so this last base location is around 26.1, 64.6. And I used to love this base location back in Legacy days if you could get it. So I know some people call this either the Crouch Cave or the Crouch Bear Cave, but I wouldn't say it's classed as a bear cave really. But it's opposite the Scorched Island. And then that first big tall rock pillar, you just kind of go to the left of it. And then you'll see this little cave here. And it is a crouch spot. Even though it looks like I should be able to walk through that, I can't. And this place just opens up fantastically. You got all this area here that you can plaster with defences, and then it turns the corner, goes down another little hallway and opens up into a huge location. So, well, that back wall will pop in now, it's not that big. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, you've got tons of room in here for everything. Breeding, all your crafting stuff, as many indie forges as you want really. Reps, TPs, flipping everything. So this is easily one of the best locations on the centre in my opinion. I'll just crouch out the entrance again so you can see the opening, because it does funnel into this little cave bit first. So that limits the size of dinos that they can use to soak your crouch spot turrets as well, which is a bonus. So yeah, always has been a pretty OP spot. Alright survivors, well that was 10 hidden base locations on the centre. I hope there was a variety of locations to suit your different space requirements and needs. If you enjoyed the video or learned something new, please drop a like, and a sub to the channel would be amazing, and I shall catch you in the next one. Goodbye for now. Peace.